what is going down? It is DJ Ash Noble here, and welcome back to another stream. Can you believe it? I'm all out of coke. Apart from a tiniest little dreg there, I could probably. I got like the tiniest little bit. Oh dear. Welcome back to another stream. What I thought I'd do in today's stream is it's the 18th of December as I'm currently doing this stream at the moment. So we're coming up towards the end of the year, the end of 2022, and 2023, if you like, is fastly approaching. And what I do like to do, sort of at any time round this time, I think I did do it last year, is just do a little bit of a look back stroke, like a recap, just a sort of a reminisce, if you like, just 2022. Like I say, I think I did it last year, and just about sort of things that have happened this year, and just a little bit of a reflection, really, of what's gone on this year. Now, this year for me has been an incredible year. To be fair, it's been absolutely crazy. It's been like just insane. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a shed load of fun, and things that I never imagined would happen happened, which is like a really good thing. So, I suppose we'll sort of start sort of. I know this is about sort of this year, but we'll sort of just briefly touch up on sort of 2021. So 2021, for the first half of it, we was in the lockdown, and the clubs were shut. We weren't allowed to really go anywhere or really do anything. And then sort of towards mid 2021, sort of late spring, early summer, the restrictions, they slowly started easing, as I'm sure you'll remember. And when they, or should I say, once they started, getting restricted, things sort of like really started to look up for me music wise, and I started getting booked to play out as a DJ, playing some of my first nightclub sets, which I had no idea it would kind of move on to what really this year has been, which has just been absolutely incredible. So last year was a good year for me once we came out of the lockdown, like I said. But when I came into 2022, I knew there was still a couple of things that I needed to fix for myself, and there was a few things that just wasn't really working for me, and some things that I needed essentially to change. And one of the main ones was actually a job. I'd been unemployed for a good, I don't know, nearly 4 years. Sort of once family business closed down, I sort of eventually had to sign on, and essentially I'd done a couple of like small jobs that didn't really last that long. Did some work experience, some like trial jobs that just never really led into anything. So I knew that was one thing that I essentially wanted to do, but I wanted it to be music related, and it's quite hard getting something like music related. And a lot of people told me like just apply at Tesco's, just apply at Tesco's. You're never gonna make enough as a DJ to earn a living, and you're never gonna get a job music wise. Um, and I guess kind of remotely in my mind, I wanted to kind of prove these people wrong. And I think it's completely something I disagree with, because you get music teachers at school. You get people that like do music classes and teach people like how to do like certain elements of music. And I just thought, do you know what? One day I'm going to prove people wrong, and I'm going to get a job that focuses purely around doing music related things, other things as well. Um, and I got my job at Goodwin, which a big chunk of my sort of like job at Goodwin is doing music related things. So it is, we work with Hull Youth Music Network, which is sort of running these networking events to do with music. And then we do like Music Lab, which is things with with bands and stuff, which I'll get onto that a little bit later on in the stream as well. So I knew that obviously I needed to to get this job, or get a job as such. And luckily, I don't even know how. Well, I first applied. Well, I first interviewed for the job, and somebody who was a little bit more experienced than me actually ended up getting the job, and then someone else got the job as well. And one of these people that had got the job hadn't been in the job long before they decided essentially that this wasn't the job for them, and they left with immediate effect, and essentially the job role came up again. And I suppose instead of re-advertising and re-interviewing, I did do a fairly good interview, so they offered me the job, which was obviously a buzz. So I started in August of this year, and I was supposed to be on a contract until the end of December, which it's now being extended until the end of February, with a possibility of it being extended again, which could possibly even take us maybe going as far as October next year, which is incredible, and I'd absolutely love to be in this job for as long as I can. It's kind of like a bit like actors in a soap. If the contract gets extended, then you stay in that show essentially. And this is, I guess, in somewhat kind of the same. If the funding gets extended, our contracts can get extended, and then we stay in the job even longer. So at the moment, I'm there at the moment, and I'm keeping going. So that's one good thing. So obviously, like I say, I needed to get this job, and I did, which was a really good thing for me. Another thing that I really wanted to change about myself was just the whole me, the whole way I was. And I wanted to give myself this more, I guess, if you like, professional look, as opposed to somebody who just gets wrecked all the time. And I sort of thought to myself that I want to give up drinking. And my good friend the layman, he's been teetotal now for quite a good few years, and he's told me a few things that have like really stuck within my mind. And I kind of I've done a lot of thinking about it really. And I just thought, well, it's right. You're paying to give yourself a headache, you're paying to make yourself ill. You might have a bit of a good time at the time, but at the same time, you can be making a complete muppet of yourself. And I suppose things that really stood out for me was I got booked for the Harder Southwest Fest, which took place last year. And on the Friday, I got absolutely blathered, and I ended up missing my set. And then I just essentially didn't end up playing the set, and it wasn't the best pleased with me. And then on the Saturday, I did do my set, but at the same time, I still got blathered on the night. And I just thought, do you know what? As fun as it is, it's not making yourself look good. And when you're missing sets that you've been booked for because you're getting absolutely hammered, it just doesn't give you a good image. If a promoter's asking another promoter, what's that Noble guy like to book? Then they'll be like, oh yeah, he'll come to the booking, but 9 times out of 10 he'll get wrecked, and then he can't even play his set. And I just thought that's not the image that I want to really portray. I want to go to my gigs and go behind the decks and give it my all. And since I've cut down on the drinking massively, it's helped massively. I've gone to bookings, and I've kept that clean, good image, and I've gone behind the decks and smashed it, and just essentially just felt good, and woke up the next day. Obviously not felt rough, which was another good thing. And that money that would have gone on getting say 10 Jaeger bombs in, and maybe 4 or 5, 6, 7 beers, could go towards something else. I mean, one good prime example, I guess, was upgrading the 4 channel mixer. That's another good thing. Buying new songs to play in sets. That's another good thing about it. So this year I've done a lot of sort of like cutting back on drinking, not in a harsh or mean way to anybody else, but I've also cut back from sort of that house party sort of vibe, that kitchen session sort of look. Because sometimes if you want to portray yourself in a little bit more of a better image, and you're there dancing around in someone's dining room with the decks on, and there's a pile of washing in the background, and you've got the little banes running around, and you've got one guy smoking a doobie, and then you've got the women in the background on the gin. It just doesn't really portray that sort of image for me. And I even looked back on this YouTube channel, and I'd gone live in house parties in the past, and having a good bit of fun around at my mate's house. And don't get me wrong, they are fun, and I did enjoy them. That's not to say that it's not that I didn't enjoy them. It's just going forward, I don't want to portray that image, and some of the bars I was spitting was just daft, and just a whole sort of like general outlook and image, in my opinion, was just not really what I wanted to go by. So that was another thing that I decided to change. And I suppose the final thing really that I decided to change sort of going forward into this year was just cutting out negativity as well. I'd noticed that a couple of people, quite a fean people that you think are sound people, that they're actually not. And I mean, I suppose one example was sort of latish on last year, when a friend of mine's girlfriend actually texted me and asked me if I could get a bloke on a lineup to the Ardagh South West Fest. And it wasn't my event. If I get booked somewhere, I can't just say put him on or put her on. The way it works is you've got to put like effort and graft in yourself, essentially. And it wasn't my event, so essentially I said no. And then from that Ardagh South West Fest booking, I obviously got more bookings, sort of DNA, etc. Few other bits and bobs came through, and then that was it. I was removed, and I don't support them, and I don't do this, and I haven't been there for them, and blah blah blah. And I just thought, what, if that's the way you're gonna be, then absolutely, go to hell with you. And then I've had other people that were supposed to be close friends, to tell me that it's all gonna come crashing down. And I just thought, what, the best way in life is to surround yourself with positive people. And one thing that I've learned, that anybody sort of getting into music will learn, is that you'll find out who your true friends are. You'll find out who your true supporters are. So your true friends and supporters are people that back you all the way. People that are there congratulating you on bookings, telling you well done, even coming along to some of them, and essentially, just being there for you, and supporting you. And I always look at it as a good example. One example I like to use is I hate football. I can't stand it. I haven't even watched any of the World Cup. But if I had a friend who was doing well in football and he was a good close friend and he was doing well and he got signed up to a big team and he had a big match on Saturday and he said, Ian Noble, I've got this big match coming on. Absolutely would love it if you just come and support me. By all means, if I was free, if I had nothing on the day and I could go and support my friend, I'd go and support him. And that's the way I see it with other people. The music that I play, the hardcore or the bounce might not be everyone's cup of tea, but you should at least just come and be there and just be proud of your friends. And when your friend puts a flyer up and says, hey, I'm playing here, you should be just giving it a like and oh, well done, mate, you're doing so well, I'm proud of you. But one thing you'll realise is a lot of people will get bitter and jealous, and they'll sit there in the background, and they'll slag you off to the moon and back, and oh, how did he get that booking? And he's only on there because of so and so, and he's only done this because of this, and then they'll stop liking and sharing your flyers. When you're getting your first couple, they'll be like, yeah, you're doing well. And especially when you're playing local and you're playing locally, you're with a crowd of people that don't really go anywhere above playing locally. You'll be their best friends and you'll be smashing it. But then as soon as you go a little bit further and you get some out of town bookings, that's it. You won't hear from them. And they'll stop liking and sharing your flyers, and suddenly you'll be asking them, oh, do you want to come to this booking? And then suddenly, oh, I'm not going to that. Well, why would I go to that? So that's one thing that I've changed this year, is obviously just sort of surrounding myself with that positive vibe and then positive people. And now I'm surrounded by people that are just up for a laugh, people that when I post a new remix I've been working on, they'll even someone today who's a friend of mine, he commented and said, you're coming along so well with your production. And and that's the kind of thing that you want from a friend. You want people that are going to comment and say you're doing well, and people that are going to be there when you're when you're doing things, and just be genuinely supportive. So they're the things I've changed going into 2022 and throughout 2022. And what a great year it's been. So let's kind of look towards the positive side of 2022. So if I'm not wrong, I do believe, and I don't know if I've got the flyer right here because it actually fell off the bedroom wall. To be fair, I need to really rethink about sticking these back up, really, to be honest. And they're not actually that good. But yeah, so we kicked off 2022. Oh geez, this actually isn't good. This has actually ripped the flyer. Not that good at all. But anyway, so we started off 2022 by me playing at Stomping's 3rd birthday. So they were celebrating 3 years of their event. Top Groove, Kenny Sharp, Paulo, Triple XL, Digital Error, Pursuit. And then there was a room 2 where we had the likes of Cobo, the Jester, myself, DJ P, Kirby, and Danny Yen. And I do remember the event, but I don't remember too much about it. I remember sort of playing my set, and I remember sort of being sort of like up and about, sort of around the place, and I know it was a banging night that I can remember, which was a really good thing. So I enjoyed that. Followed by stomping. Actually, I think there was maybe a, but I think if I remember right, yeah, I do apologise. We actually started off the year by going to DNA Hard in Leicester, where I hosted the mic on the main stage, and I did a set with Scar, and she played like a Gabba set, and I'd never hosted a Gabba set before. And the style she played and the Gabba set she played, I remember. This is something I do remember well because I really enjoyed the set. And what I was going to say is that she played an amazing set. And there's one tune that always stands out for me, and it was a remix of Wonderful Days, and it was something someone on bass D, if I remember right, and it comes in with a really heavy gabba drop, and it blew me away. Like the tune just coming through the system in the nightclub just sounded absolutely belting. Um, and I just remember buzzed up being on stage and hosting the set, and like I say, Scar played really well, and it was sort of like the first time that I'd really like worked alongside Scar, to be honest, and she seemed to really enjoy having me hosting as well. As I think I just really did the Gabba set justice. I hosted really. There wasn't really many bars in the set at all, which was a good thing. And then there was a room 2 that got opened up, and they ran a competition, and some people got the chance to play in the room 2 essentially. And there was the likes of DJ Prime, DJ Overdrive, and there was I forget his name now, and I hosted his set. Scotty C, that was it, Scotty C, and I hosted Scotty C's set, which was enjoyable to do. It was like more of a power stompy set, but there was just a few little sound errors, I think, upstairs, if I remember right, that just wasn't too good. But it was a banging night, to say the less. And then after that, we had the stomping, which was a good thing. And then I think sort of February and March, I had a little bit of a quiet time. Not really anything too much going on. I think I might have done maybe like a party booking or something like that in February. I think I did, and I remember it well because the couple that was the parents to the kids. Well, I think one of them was the biological mum, and the other one was the stepdad. And anyway, they both ended up having a little bit too much to drink, and before you know it, they're rowing. They're having a full blown argument, and from what I can gather from that day on, the couple actually split up. And I always remember being so relieved because luckily I'd been paid for doing the party before they got too drunk and had an argument. And the guy himself he was at the bar and he was buying Jaegers after Jaegers. And I remember what started the argument is he thought he'd already paid for a load of Jaegers, and the person behind the bar was saying that he hadn't paid for these Jaegers essentially, and essentially it just caused a massive argument because he'd had a drink, and he was actually showing the woman up at the bar. He was actually showing his girlfriend up, like with the way he was shouting, and the next minute they're having a full blown argument, and he's thrown out the pub. So I always remember it because I was just so lucky that I actually got paid, for doing the booking, which was crazy. So then we went on into April. April was definitely one where I played an event, Clubland Vibes, with the likes of Kelly Lorena, The Jester, Healy, and Kirk Lloyd. And that event was an enjoyable event, but as you may or may not remember, I had USB stick issues, and I sort of my stick wouldn't load essentially when I got to the venue and went on to play my set. Jester luckily lent me his stick, but because I got so stressed out about my stick not working, I just didn't essentially vibe the set, to be honest. And like I did an all right set, but when you sat at home and you plan something and you just wanted it to go so well and it just didn't. Just essentially what wasn't a good thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was a little bit gutting, but nevertheless, it was still a good event. Moving on from there, I got booked for an event called well, I think May. Was it May? Let's have a look. 21st of May. I joined Stomping again, where they had the likes of Kakuma, Al Storm, Rob IYF, and I opened up in the second room again, and I remember the event. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest on stream. The second room, the downstairs room, I was on the first set. It was absolutely dead. There was hardly any. I don't think there was even anybody there at this point. And this was the last Stomping that I played as well. I've not played one since. Yeah, the room was just dead. I enjoyed the set, but at the same time, I'm just playing to an empty room. Really, there was nothing to. Although I enjoyed the set and I enjoyed my time behind the decks, there was nothing to. There was nothing to really get excited about. There was nothing that was screaming out like, yeah, I really enjoyed this booking. It was enjoyable, but there was nothing mega exciting about it. It was just an empty room, and I played. I remember going on earlier as well. Went on a little bit earlier because they got set up and they said, well, you might as well just start. And I remember I braved playing a couple of bounce tunes, and they essentially didn't really vibe it. So they just essentially said, look, will you just go back to some hard house when it hits 8 o'clock? And I just thought, yeah, I'll do it. I do like hard house. I was just giving something a try. And then from there on, I went to play an event called Glow With It, which was absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed that event, really vibed it actually. Also played the Residents Association. That was another good event where it was like so you get a 20-minute set to showcase what you can do. So I did like a history of dance music. So it was kind of all like old school dance tunes, but it was like modern remixes of them. So there was like bassline remixes and like deep house, tech house remixes of like old songs essentially. And I'd like planned this set like proper down to the T. The whole sort of vibe of the set was just amazing essentially. And I remember they really enjoyed it, and it was actually one of the guy who puts the nights on. It was one of his most favourite residents associations that he's put on in a long time. He liked the different variety of music, so and everyone smashed it. It was a really enjoyable event. Then we went on, and myself and the Layman, we went down to Kettering, and we performed our knife crime track called Knife Regrets. We did a knife track last year that got picked up by a knife campaign, and then we got asked to go down to Kettering and do this performance at a festival called Stomfest. And it was really enjoyable. It was like an outdoor thing, and they had like hardcore D&B, loads of great tunes going off. There was a woman playing techno. There was some house tunes earlier on in the day as well. Myself and the Layman, we performed Knife Regrets, and then we did some of our other positive reggae tunes, the Jiggerman tunes, and the whole vibe was just enjoyable. It was outdoors. The only bad thing about the day was when we first got there, it was raining. It was quite a wet day, and then it seemed to like dry up. and it sort of like warmed up a little bit, and then it just led to like an amazing night really. And we had some good feedback from being at Stomfest itself. Loads of people just buzzed off of it. I got text messages and people inboxing me even on Instagram like, oh, I saw you at Kettering, you absolutely smashed it. That was really really good. I also did a DNA free party. I think that was in March actually, and I actually missed that one out, and it was my last DNA that I ever played, and it'll be the last one that I'll ever play, because DNA itself is actually no longer a brand anymore. But I remember that set because I played a banging 45-minute hardcore set that just was really good, and I had MC Dukins on the mic for me, and we did really well. We did really well. I was originally supposed to do a B2B with Overdrive, and I was supposed to go down with Overdrive and Healy, and sadly they couldn't make it. And I remember as well, there was because Overdrive wasn't going down, there was a good sort of like possibility that I couldn't get down, and for a good while I couldn't get down. Friend of friend of mine was supposed to hire a van, and then it never happened, and then luckily I got a lift at the last minute. Someone who actually said they'd take me, and I ended up still going and doing the booking, and I really enjoyed it. It was really enjoyable. And it, like I say, it was the last DNA. So after the Stom Fest, which was sort of around the July time, through sort of August. I think it was August. I did an event in Doncaster called Studio Sessions, which was a really good event. That was an enjoyable day in itself. Apart from, I remember that booking well because me being a daft me, didn't eat all day, and had a couple of beers actually, which I said I was cutting down on the drinking. I had at this point. I'm just drinking now and again, and I decided. I'd gone through and I'd met up with some friends earlier on, and there was like an outdoor sort of little mini festival thing for the Pride. So I decided, yeah, I'll have a couple of cans. And I hadn't really eaten all day, to be fair, other than I think I'd had a real little bit of toast or something in the morning. And the layman dropped me off in Doncaster. He was on his way somewhere else, and cut the story short, I got a really bad headache on the night. Sort of like while I was at the event, and it like really. It got to the point where I actually at one point was actually going to try and ring up for a lift and actually pull out of the set because I just actually didn't feel good. But I just chilled out at the event and drank some water, and the headache actually ended up going down. And then I was supposed to go back to a friend's house and crash. They got stupidly drunk and left before my set had even taken place. So I actually ended up sort of, I think from about 3 in the morning until about 9 in the morning, wandering the streets of Doncaster. I sat outside the station for a bit. I got some abuse from a crackhead. Apparently, I'd been following her, and I had been asleep on a bench. And then about 6 o'clock, I managed to get into a McDonald's when it opened. So I had a bit of breakfast. I had a cup of tea, and then I walked back to the station. By the time I got back to the station, it had opened and they'd let people in. I sat in a waiting room essentially, and I fell asleep in the waiting room. Actually missed the first train, got the second train, and went home, and was actually all right. In all fairness, so yeah, that studio sessions was a shed load of fun, and then we were supposed to do another one, but the club itself actually shut down, which was a little bit of a shame. Then in September, I joined forces again with Bounce to Your Drop for the first birthday. I also forgot to mention in June, I also ended up playing a bounce to your drop because they had a pull out or something went wrong and I did a B2B with Top Vibe. But September, I went back to Bounce to Your Drop and played their first birthday. Shed load of fun, warmed up for Ian Van Dal, Karen Parry, and Ryan Walker, and it was a shed load of fun. It really was. Really enjoyed the whole vibe. About a week after, I ended up going down to Norwich and playing an event called Stomp for Cancer, where I played my first ever classic trance set in a club, in a nightclub, and it was really enjoyable actually. A friend of mine, Simi, recommended that I was the guy to play a classic trance set. And I remember at the time thinking, like, I do love my classic trance, but I'm not sure that I'm the guy to play it in a club because I don't play it that often. Do you know what I mean? Like, I play it, but I don't play it like all the time. Like, as a matter of fact, I've not even played it once since Stomp for Cancer, which was kind of like one sort of like annoying thing. Another event I have forgot to mention was Bounce Force. I went all the way down to Established in Lear, which is just near Wigan. Played alongside Gavin Dodd, Ryan, Neil Catchy, my good friend Tyndall Marshy, Mark James, Chris J. The event was enjoyable itself. It didn't get the club didn't get mega busy, and I got told off a few days after for playing too fast, and haven't done another Bounce Force since. Maybe they just didn't like the speed I played at. I also took over Lenny's Bar on Holderness Road and did covered in for the normal resident DJ. Ended up actually really rocking the bar actually, and started off with like 70s, 80s Motown, and then went into some 90s, and then actually went on to mixing some house tunes, and they actually really enjoyed it. It was it went different to what I thought it was going to do, which was really good. So that was enjoyable. Then we move on to the likes of July as well, where I did Wizards of the Core. That was also another one to mention. There's so many gigs. Like I'm looking at my poster wall now, and missing some. Most definitely. The Great British Rave Off. It's on my wall, but I never actually ended up doing the event because there was a little bit of a mess about. Essentially, I'd been booked to MC at the Great British Rave Off at the Doncaster Warehouse, which I was absolutely buzzed about. And I was really buzzed for it. That the layman kind of knew about this booking and sort of kept it from me, but sort of hinted that I had something coming. And I was really buzzed to do it. It was my debut to perform at the warehouse, and sort of like quite a little bit in. I got offered another booking on the same day, and regarding the Great British Rave Off, I hadn't really seen too much about it promotion wise, and a few other bits and bobs really, and I just wanted to a few sort of like wanted to know a bit of info essentially about the event. So I tried contacting the promoter, just how much am I going to get paid, blah blah blah, and got an idea of what time my set time would be, because I was thinking there might be a possibility of me doing both gigs, both events, and the guy who was running the Great British Rave Off just he didn't really seem like he really could be asked, or like he really knew. I was just getting a bad vibe off of the guy himself and the event, and I thought, I've got this Bounce to Your Drop booking here that I know is going to be genuine. The boys always look after me. I always get sorted out and paid for playing. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going with Bounce to Your Drop. And then lo and behold, the Great British Rave Off event itself actually got cancelled. So sometimes it's good to go with your gut instincts, most definitely. We move on to the likes of Bounce Central. That was just outside of Doncaster. That was a fun night. We just essentially took over a club with a real loud sound. Well, we took over a pub with a really loud sound system and just blasted a load of donk. And I essentially just blew a few people away with the set I played. And played some tunes that got some of the other DJs coming over to the decks and wanting to know sort of like, what remix am I playing. Essentially, and then I got inbox off another guy like, oh, if you do this at, they should book you at so and so, and if you played a set like you played here, you'd smash it. And little did they know I was actually booked for this event he was suggesting as well. So yeah, that was enjoyable. And then we got the likes of The Movement, Tick Tick Boom. I MC'd, I DJ'd. There was a couple of little issues. A fire alarm went off during my DJ set, so the set got cut short. I had trouble with the mic wire while I was MCing. That didn't go down too well. Gone but not forgotten. Little memorial event I did for a friend of mine who sadly lost their brother. The following day, I went over to the same town and played an event called Reflection because the DJ essentially pulled out. The following week, I rejoined Tosh with Clubland Vibes and warmed up for the likes of Flip and Phil, which was really enjoyable. And then this Friday just gone, they had a pull out an event in Scunthorpe called Frantic, and they put me on. And I played just this Friday gone in Scunthorpe at an event called Frantic. I was supposed to be in Manchester, but the trains were striking, so I had to pull from the event. And upcoming gigs, we've got The Movement on Boxing Day, which is it's now Monday, so it's actually a week today. I'm on the warming up duties, and I can't wait. But again, there's no trains on Boxing Day, so I'm getting a lift. All being well, I'm supposed to be getting a lift, so hopefully everything does go to plan. Because one thing I do really hate is pulling out of bookings, especially like at the last minute as well. And then moving on to next year, I'm doing an event in Southampton with it's a birthday thing, and I'm meeting up. I'm hosting for K-Tex, who's actually driving us down. He's from Cleethorpes himself. He's going to drive us down. We're going to stop in the hotel. So I'm looking forward to that one. And I've got a couple of other bookings as well that I will be announcing when the times are right. But some of them are just a little bit too far a bit too far forward, I think. And I probably will make an announcement about the Bidses event. Probably sometime soon. A few sort of things came at once, like flyers coming out, and when you just sort of trying to get through them all. So yeah, that is a look back of the year as far as the events go. So I guess really what I probably gotta say, what has been my favourite event of the year. What has been what has been the best event of the year. What's the one I've enjoyed playing at the most out of all these amazing events that I've actually played at. And I think it's a really hard one. It's a really hard one to really narrow it down and really say what has been my favourite event of the year. And because there's been so many good ones like studio sessions, in itself, that place just got rammed, and really enjoyed my set there. Then there was the Reflection. I enjoyed my set at Reflection. Gone but not forgotten. That was a really good hardcore set there. Wizards of the Core played a banging hardcore set there. Stomfest, really enjoyed hosting there. Bounce to Your Drop was just, again, it was just amazing in itself. You know, and then even that Friday Night Madness at the Lenny's Bar, where I filled in for a DJ, really enjoyed that set as well. That was just absolutely banging. The set I played last week at Clubland Vibes at Tosh with Flip and Phil, really enjoyed that set. So there's been so many really good events. Frantic, really enjoyed Frantic, but I think if I did really have to narrow it down, I have got to say that my favourite event of the year that I've done this year, I would have to say, MCing wise, because I do MC and DJ bookings. So MCing wise, it's got to be Stomfest. That was my most favourite booking for MCing, for hosting. For DJing wise, my most favourite booking for DJing, I have got to say, has probably going to be, I think it's a really tough one, because I really enjoyed Bounce to Your Drop, and I really do want to say Bounce to Your Drop was my most favourite place to DJ this year. But I really did enjoy the vibe at Gone But Not Forgotten with the Layman hosting me, and I really did enjoy the Reflection set as well. That was a really enjoyable set. But I do think, you know, going on the stage at Bounce to Your Drop and playing a 90s bounce set and watching them women behind the bar dancing away, that's a set for me. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bounce to Your Drop. And one thing I did forget to mention about this year, and I can't believe I forgot it, I've kind of let myself down. I said earlier in the stream I'd touch up on it, and then I never did. And that was being a part of my band, Noble and the Gang, Music Lab. Did some amazing things. Forgot about them bookings as well. Playing the Adelphi Club, the Polar Bear, doing an event for the Jubilee, a big outdoor event in a car park, which was absolutely fantastic as well, really enjoyable. And doing this year's Christmas party at Goodwin as well. That was another enjoyable event in itself. So yeah, what an amazing year. So yeah, I just want to thank every single person that has supported me over this year. It's been really incredible, to be fair, to go back and reminisce and talk about these events as well. You know, some of the earlier ones that, you know, just amazing. And then them sort of like, oh yeah, I did that little night as well. Just truly amazing. I'm just buzzed that I can do this, that I can, you know, go to nightclubs and play sets, and go to nightclubs and grab the mic. You know, it's an incredible thing to do. And, you know, we're only going to keep going. So big ups to everybody, supporters. Big ups to the Layman. He's been like my brother. Not forgetting the music production tracks you know, I've done this year as well. I know, like, I've only had 2 releases, a Lonely Sex Shooter and Another Night. But there is some other tunes obviously coming in the pipeline, and production has been a learning curve for me this year, and I've really wanted to get stuck at it, and I just keep going with tunes and see where they take me. So yeah, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share. Peace out. What a year, guys.